welcome to or welcome back to Amandasaur Art. My name's Amanda and I like dinosaurs and art. Today I am doing a Tyrannosaurus Rex drawing. I know I recently did one back, I don't know when, it was sometime this year, but I like to draw a T-Rex every year as a way to show myself the way I progress with my art and show the growth I'm doing to myself. And so this is this year's dinosaur, I guess. Last year I ended up drawing two T-Rexes. The first one ended up being my all-time favorite T-Rex I've ever drawn. And then at the end of December I drew another T-Rex, digital, and that one wasn't so much to see my growth with my art. That one was more to see what I am able to create with Procreate. The style I prefer to draw with for my dinosaurs is definitely my own type of style, and so with the T-Rex I recently drew, that one was more to see if I'm able to create something that fit my style in digital form, since I was so used to traditional. That's why I didn't count it as my let's see how much I've grown with my art dinosaur. This is that one. The design I'm going for here is something really outside my comfort zone. You just saw me trace the T-Rex from the Jurassic Park movie. That is because I had this idea of having a little hint of it throughout, but I definitely didn't know how well I could quickly sketch it and things. I didn't know exactly what I wanted it for, so for that one I wanted to trace it just to have it there, and if I didn't use it, it wasn't like I wasted hours trying to get the perfect proportions for that one. This one I did just look at my reference and work on it from there. It is the same reference I've used for most of the years, not my 2019 version. You'll see in the end that the 2019 version is definitely a lot different than the other dinosaurs, I guess, but I'm trying to use the same reference for the most part to see my growth with my art, and so that's why they all kind of have the same look to them, but they all look different too, which I think is really cool. I wanted to do something really different than I normally do for style with this one. I wanted to do a full-on color piece, which is not my comfort zone. As you can see from some of my other stuff I've done, I'm more comfortable doing black and white, and that's just because I find it easier for me to do the contrast proper when it's just black and white. And for color, I always stress out way too much about color and what color choices to do. So I thought this would be a really good challenge for me to try to do a full color piece. What you will notice though is I did actually do my entire Rex black and white first. That is so I was able to get my values in properly, kind of work from there and not worry about if my values are right or all that. It was just so I had all that taken care of, and all I had to do was find the colors I liked best to make the Rex even awesomer. I did do my red layer, messy layer to lay out what proportions were and kind of where everything is going to end up being, and then I did my blue layer to try to define those lines a little bit more. Both of those were done with the pencil program on Procreate, and then I also, for the black layer, I didn't start with the pencil layer. I knew that if I had done that, it would have been a waste of time because I would have just ended up having to go back through with the pen layer and do it that way, so that's why I did a pen layer. Normally I would do a black pencil sketch and then that on top, but I knew with my T-Rex I did recently that I was just going to go back in and add those black lines anyway, so I decided to skip that step. As you can see, I have the background kind of filled in right now. It's not going to stay looking like that. I just had it there so I could see how much I liked it, see if it was what I was going for. It was close, but it just didn't feel right. It wasn't the colors I was trying to get, and I was struggling trying to get the colors. There was artist who did something recently that had beautiful sky colored background, and what I did from there was I was struggling trying to figure out what color combo it was that she was able to get the colors. So eventually I added the photo into my little file here with my Rex, and then I pulled the color just to see what color combos it was, and I was so far off that I'm kind of glad I did that, because it kind of helped me see the color in a different way. Because when you look at the Procreate and you look at the little dial, you can see like the rainbow and you can get different shades from that. I was looking at the color all wrong, and it was really cool to see what colors actually went into it. Like, it was more on the green-blue scale when I thought it was more on the red-blue scale, if that makes sense. And so that's why my background kept not looking the way I was wanting it to look. And so I just used that as my base reference for the color I wanted for the background. And I think that's a cool tool to help you see something in a different light. I kept struggling. I wasn't able to find the color exactly how I wanted it. And so I brought the picture in and used that to see what colors it actually was. And once I found that color, I was able to tweak it to be more of what I was looking for my drawing, but it had the base of that color in there, if that makes sense. I wasn't trying to copy exactly the color that she used. I was trying to find my own in that same spectrum, because there are so many colors in this world. So I eventually did that, which I was so happy I did, because it ended up feeling a lot better and flowed a lot smoother. What also helped was, I know you saw me work a little bit on the amber at the very bottom of this drawing. I did the amber, I think, next, after I got most of the Rex kind of shaded in, to take a break from the Rex and move on to another piece of the puzzle here. And doing that really showed that the background color wasn't what I was going for. And so then that's what helped me decide, okay, I really need to hone in on what color I want this to be. I know it seems silly to talk so much about just the background color, but to me it was important, and it is important to care about what colors you're putting in, what colors you're looking for, and all that. It's very important, especially if you're doing a color piece, to make sure everything works together. And so that's why I'm talking about it so much, is I had a look in my mind. This felt wrong, but I didn't want to like spend more time finding the color. And then once I did the amber, it really didn't feel right, and so that's why I changed the color up. I also added way too many stars. I have the Jenna Marbles Too Much gene, and this round I added so many stars. I was like, oh man, I just can't stop. I keep adding them. I was doing them by hand. There's two different ways to do stars. The first way I did was using the soft airbrush, getting that soft glow, and then using the medium brush to add another little layer of glow, and then the hard airbrush to add that final little dot to make it really bright. And that works, but it takes a lot of time. Procreate has a luminance brush, and in there is a light pen. Highly recommend using the light pen because it saved me so much time, but I knew how to do it. It just was a time saver. So right now I'm working on the amber, and the amber turned out so much better than I thought it would. Right here you see the color change to that more navy blue green, which is what I was really wanting to from the beginning to start with, and you could see that it works really well with that amber, and so that's why I changed the color. Here is probably my favorite part of the drawing. My husband didn't even notice it until I pointed it out. He knew that the Rex was there. He saw me working on it. He saw the black outline of the Rex, and so later when it wasn't there, I was like, do you see the other Rex? And he looked, and he finally saw it, and he was like, that's really cool. And I was like, exactly. I had no idea what I was going to do with that Rex. Like I said before, I knew I wanted it there. I didn't know how I wanted it there, so that's why I kind of just left it as black lines and traced it. Is I didn't know what I wanted, and so that was the thing. I just left it there until I figured something out. So here is where I just do a little Rexy constellation. I can't say words, you know what I'm saying. And I added the lines that you normally see when you see like the Leo symbol in the sky, or you know what I'm talking about. I added those because I wanted you to know that it wasn't just a cluster of stars there. I wanted the shape to be there, but I didn't want to make it obvious. So I added those lines, and then you can see it once you know it's there. You can't unsee it from what I can tell. And so that's what I really like about it, is it's there, but you don't know it's there until you see it. And here's me doing my Jenna Marbles Too Much Jean and adding a bajillion stars, and I tried not to add as many near the little Rexy I just did because I wanted it to stand out. I tried to add a shooting star. It was just too much. My Too Much Jean was going off. When I do my shading, I sped this part up because it's just me doing shading. I vary. Sometimes I'll start with the darker part of the shading and then work my way to the lighter part and then erase to really get those highlights. And then sometimes I'll start with the lighter part and work my way to the darker part. I really have no method to my madness. It kind of just goes with how I'm feeling that day, what I'm feel like doing. I think for me, the fastest way I can get some of the effects I'm looking for is to actually go from dark to light. And I know in most mediums you want to try to do light to dark, like watercolor. I love doing watercolors. You don't want to start too dark because it's really hard to make it softer again. With digital, I found that I go quicker if I start with my darkest darks and work my way to the lightest. I'm not saying that's the way you gotta do it, but like that's how I do it. And it's really dependent on the person and what you're looking for. And so I would just experiment, see what you're comfortable doing, and kind of go from there. Here's the part where I was really nervous. I didn't know what colors I was going to do for my Rex, and I used the soft airbrush, so there was a hint of color. I didn't want to overwhelm this piece with too much color, so I hinted at color with my Rex. And just kind of worked from there. And what I did was I used the colors I had previously used in this piece, tweaked them a little bit just so they all had that consistency, and helped everything flow together. If you want your piece to really flow together, try using the same colors you use in something else within the other elements of your art. So like, for example, the amber, I used the yellow from the amber as like my base tone for the bottom part of the Rex here. And now that really ties them together. It doesn't feel like they're so separated. And later on, I will use one of the sky blue colors to add some highlights in my Rex as well. So it really brings my Rex into the element that it's in. I'm sure you guys have noticed by now the little leaves and raptor claws at the bottom there. This is a sort of tattoo inspired thing. I know I do a lot of that here. I'm really trying to work on my portfolio, so I wanted to make something that really felt like it would just be stamped onto somebody's body real nicely. And so those little white spots are actually skin areas. So like if it was on your body, those would be the empty skin spaces to help bring it together. I don't know, I saw an artist do that with something I thought was really cool, and I wanted to do it with a dinosaur element, so that's what I did there. I like the simplicity of it, and I like how it kind of like, it's not a typical circle, and they're not super detailed, they're just kind of there. I really like it. I was honestly really scared to do the color for my Rex because I just didn't believe that I could make it look the way I wanted it to look. I was afraid I was going to make it gross looking. I don't know if that's the right way to say that, but I was worried that it wasn't going to turn out right. Even though I had just done a Spinosaurus for a client that had color in it, and I used the same method and it turned out amazing, I was nervous for my Rex. This is an important piece for me to make because I draw a Rex every single year. I wanted it to be perfect, and so I was very nervous to do it, but I'm so glad I did. My husband really liked the black and white. He thought I was going to keep it black and white, and then when I was like, no, I'm going to do color, he was like, really? He wasn't sure about it either. But when I finished it, he realized how much cooler it looks in color. And so it was kind of cool to have that experience of him being like, are you sure about that? And me going, nope, and then just continuing on. For the eye, I did experiment. I wasn't sure if I wanted to go with a white eye, yellow eye, or blue eye. I ended up doing a blue eye with some elements from the sky in it to help tie it together some more. And then I think for the highlight, I actually used the luminance pen to add a little star highlight, which I think is really fun. I played around with different types of highlights. I think I ended up with that one, if I remember correctly. And that was really fun to do, just having like a little star in its eye, a little twinkle in its little eye. This was a really fun piece for me to do because I really just experimented and worked on it until I was happy with it. And it's definitely not something I normally draw, which I think is also really cool. Well, I guess I say I normally don't draw this, but I do draw an awful lot of dinosaurs. If you're looking for a dinosaur drawing, you can DM me on Instagram or comment below, and we could talk about a commission piece if you're interested. I love drawing dinosaurs, and my favorite commission pieces are ones where people ask me to draw dinosaurs, so I'm okay with that. I'm looking at the amber in the drawing right now, and I'm wondering if I remembered to add the highlight back in, because the highlight disappeared. There was a highlight. Did I just not add it back in? Right now I'm just touching up the edges to make sure everything was nice and clean and organized and meant to look the way it's supposed to look. So that's what I'm doing there. I don't think I added that highlight in. I'm trying to do this voiceover in one take, just because I'm feeling kind of lazy and don't want to have too much to edit later. Looks like I never added the highlight back to the amber. Oh well, I still think it looks cool. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave a comment below on your favorite dinosaur. What's your favorite dinosaur and why? I want to know. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!